Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. How's it going here? It's going. It's been a while, subhanAllah. Alhamdulillah that we're back to class after 5 weeks. I was supposed to come last Saturday, but I was very, very sick, subhanAllah. It was the jet lag, right? I was inside of my office and they came and knocked the door and I couldn't get up to pray. Did come outside and people were praying. My class parked outside. And they came, knocked my door, I couldn't open the door. Can you imagine how sick it was? It's a Hadith class, if you want to join the class. It's only for youth, for registered students only. Yeah, but if you want to stay, you can stay, but if you want to register, you can also register, inshallah. Same thing with all brothers who are not registered, inshallah. There's a chance, to register them if you want. Almost time. And I couldn't even get up. The students came for the Quran class, and they were sitting outside. Wallahi, I couldn't get up to meet them. So I met them on Zoom. And I was listening to their lessons while I'm lying on my bed. That's how sick it was. SubhanAllah. I don't know why, but alhamdulillah, this time was so hard for me. Alhamdulillah for everything. Even though it was my 4th time to go to Egypt in the last 10 years, but alhamdulillah. Very quick announcement, and then I have a question, then we're going to go right over to our lesson, inshallah ta'ala. Just a reminder of the Quran competition, organized by ISR, and it's going to be hosted by Huda School, inshallah. It's going to be held at Huda School and organized by ISR. You know Abdullah Khawaja, for sure. If you want to register, please talk to him about all the details, right? He has all the information. It's important, please support him, right? This is a good cause. It's one of the biggest actually in the city. I mean, this one and the one that Huda School does, but the one at Huda School is just for Huda School students. This one is by far, I think, the biggest one in our city. So make sure to support it, inshallah, and talk to Abdullah Khawaja about any questions you have. And register, inshallah ta'ala, right? There are 7 levels here. You have to pay $25 fees, by the way. Yeah. So just look at these levels and choose your level. You can find some flyers downstairs or the posters on the wall in different areas in the masjid, or you can still ask Abdullah and he will give you information. Okay, so my question to you is what I asked in the group today. I noticed that some of the classes here held by some of the Hafad, mashallah, they finish at Maghrib time or before Maghrib, and then they pray Maghrib. They have to go home and come back. And for me, it's the same thing. I have to pray Maghrib and then go home and then come back for Isha. So I was wondering if you would like to have the class. What about the voting now? How many votes do we have?
Take a look.
I think a bit of you actually said Friday, but
9th for after Maghrib and 16th after Isha.
For Isha.
oh yeah, so okay. So are you guys okay to have the class after Maghrib, or you're good with the class after Isha?
Isha.
So I'll come to you, inshallah. Okay. So our hadith today is this course that you're taking is not a hadith course. We're not talking about hadith terminology. There's a course you could take about mustalah al-hadith, hadith terminology. That's not this course. There's another course about tafsir al-Quran, or the foundations of tafsir. This is not foundation of tafsir al-Quran. And it's not a class of fiqh, Islamic law, or foundations of Islamic law, usul al-fiqh, or Islamic history. No. This course is about the basics of Islam in general. And that's what I said before we started. If you're able to master the 40 hadith, you're going to have the foundation, all the basics of Islam, like in control. You're going to have all of them. But so you need to study well and to understand these points, because I'm not going to keep telling you a lot of terms and academic Islamic rulings, right? Sometimes we speak about fiqh, sometimes usul al-fiqh, sometimes Arabic language, sometimes history. And today we're going to talk about tazkiyah. Tazkiyah. So it has nothing to do with any academic subject. It's tazkiyah, it has to do with your heart. It has to do with the essence of your iman. The topic is not tazkiyah, the topic is istiqamah. That's a part of tazkiyah. Right? So istiqamah is a part of tazkiyah. But if you don't have istiqamah, you don't have anything else in Islam. What is istiqamah? What does it remind you of? What does this word remind you of? When I say istiqamah, have you heard something similar to this word before?
Istighfar.
Huh?
Istighfar.
Istighfar, okay. Istighfar, there are some letters from, yeah, but istiqamah doesn't remind you of something else? Iqamah, standing up. And what else? Istiqamah. Istiqamah. What does this word remind you of? Istiqamah. Have you heard this before? Have you heard this word before?
No.
You haven't heard it before. Okay.
But it reminds me of istisqa.
Istisqa. Okay. So istiqamah reminds someone of istighfar and reminds someone else of istisqa. So istighfar is to ask Allah for forgiveness. And istisqa is to ask Allah for rain. And someone else said iqamah, to stand up. Thank you so much. So istiqamah is to remain steadfast, because every day in the prayer, what do you say? Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. So basically, what we're talking about today is what you ask Allah for 17 times every single day at least. In your obligatory prayers, you have 17 rak'ahs. In every rak'ah, you ask Allah for istiqamah. So this concept has to be very clear in your mind, because that's what you're asking for. If you don't know what you're asking for, you're not going to be given anything you ask. You're not going to be given that if you don't know what you're asking for. See how important this class is. So again, it's not a hadith class. It's not a fiqh. It's not a hadith terminology class. Mustalah hadith. Guys, please, can you stop laughing for some time? Just 40 minutes, 45 minutes, then we're gonna laugh after, inshallah. Okay? So if you every day say to Allah, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. You want istiqamah, and you ask Allah for it every day. You want it, but you don't know what it is. He's not gonna give it to you. You need to know it first before you gain it, right? So the hadith is about istiqamah. The concept of thabat, as Brother Shahir said, istiqamah or thabat is to remain firm and steadfast on religion. روى الإمام مسلم عن أبي عمرو وقيل أبي عمرة سفيان بن عبد الله رضي الله عنه قال: قلت يا رسول الله قل لي في الإسلام قولا لا أسأل عليه أحدا غيرك. قال: قل آمنت بالله ثم استقم. Before we start explaining, inshallah, and before I ask someone to read the English translation, right? Here's the mic, inshallah, Rafi, if you're going to do it, because Sheikh is not here. Are you doing it? This hadith is the first hadith I mentioned on a minbar in my life. In my time, I was 12 at that time at Al-Azhar, first year of my middle school. That was the first hadith I have ever memorized. The first hadith I have ever seen or remember, Wallahi al-Azim. But I'm just trying to remember the name of the khutbah. Because at Al-Azhar, what they do is this. We have 3 years for middle school, 3 years for high school. These are 6 days, 6 classes. So we have 6 days. Each class go one day downstairs to the masjid of the ma'had, of the institute, after the class are over, and they go learn a khatib training, how to give khutbahs. And they give you one khutbah to memorize. You have to read the khutbah in front of the sheikh, and the sheikh tells you the proper tashkeel, and then you go memorize it, and then when you come back, in groups, right? In groups. When you come back with your group, you start delivering the khutbah in front of the sheikh. And the sheikh tells you where to stand, where to raise your voice, and where to lower your voice, and where to be harsh, where to be serious, and where to be soft. And he trains you. I mean, he tells you everything on how to give a khutbah, right? The first khutbah, I just can't remember the name. I don't know if it's al-dhullu wal-harur min al-mawt al-qubur or not, but that was my khutbah. It stayed with me for years, actually. Like, you take one khutbah, keep training, and you keep training. And then you go to many different masajids. Imagine you're 12 years old. When you guys do this at Tuna school, what do you feel? Or the essays now, what do you feel when you're put in the spot and you're supposed to go khutbah? It's hard. It's very, I understand it. You're in Canada. I'm talking about Al-Azhar. The point I'm trying to make is this. This is the first hadith I've ever memorized in my life. قُلْ آمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. Allahu Akbar. When I went to Egypt, they brought the... We moved from our old house to another new place after my father passed away to be next to my sister. And that old place was sold. When it was sold, I was here. They brought my books from there. So I have books since I was like younger than in my middle school, right? 12 years old at the time. And they brought these books, and that a notebook that has that particular khutbah is now in my new apartment. But I didn't open it. I didn't have time when I went to Egypt. By the way, this thobe, I bought this thobe from my own money, from my own earning 15 years ago. Guys, since I was in high school, nobody gave me a penny. By the way, I'm talking to our youth. You need to be responsible. You work and you provide for yourself. Since I was in high school, nobody bought anything for me. Nothing. Even my father passed away, I had to pay some of his debts. Rahimahullah ta'ala. I did not inherit anything. So you need to be responsible. This is my thobe. I bought it 15 years ago. And I'm so proud of it. Because it's a bit not used. It haven't been used for 10 years. Because I've been in cafeterias. And then I went to Egypt, to the new place, and I haven't been to the old place since I left Egypt. And they brought the stuff from the old place to the new one. So I bought this 15 years ago. Right? Okay. I'm sorry to go further because I love Egypt a lot, but whatever. So we're gonna go back to our hadith. It's this hadith, I have memories with this hadith. Right? I have memories with this thobe when I wear it. I wore this thobe when I was very young. I was overweight. And now I gained all weight as well. So the hadith again. قلت يا رسول الله خذ لي في الإسلام قولا لا أسأل عليه أحدا غيرك أو بعدك. Two different narrations. And we're going to mention different narrations now as well. لا أسأل عليه أحدا غيرك أو أحدا بعدك. He said قل آمنت بالله ثم استقم. تفضل يا رفي. عفوا رفي إن شاء الله is going to read the English translation. Take your time إن شاء الله.
Abu Amr radiallahu anh, who was also called Abu Amr Sufyan ibn Abdullah radiallahu anh, said, O Messenger of Allah, tell me something about Islam which I can ask of no one but you. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied, say, I have iman in Allah and then be steadfast.
This is the idea of istiqamah. So Abu Amr or Abu Amr waqila. So we have two different opinions here on his name. This is Shak min al-Rawi. The narrator of the hadith, he had a doubt. It's like, do you know my name, guys? Yes. What is my name? Muhammad. What's my last name? Many people tell me Muslih for a while. Like a lot of people say Muslih. Muslih, you know? So it's like this, Masluh or Muslih. So Abu Amr or Abu Amr. Masluh or Muslih. So that's a doubt from the narrator, and it happens sometimes, right? It's no what's happened. There is another narration, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad, he added that Abu Amr, he went further and he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, فَمَا أَتَّقِي? Yattaqi is, what should I be aware of? What should I fear, be aware of? Attaqi. فَأَوْمَأَ النَّبِيُّ إِلَى لِسَانِهِ. And Nabi did not say anything when he said, what should I be scared of? The Prophet pointed at his tongue. Be aware of this. Look. No, he's taking the hat. That's different. Look here. Not there, that point. Your tongue, guys. Your tongue. Your tongue. Look, there's a halaqah going on. Allah says, His Prophet ﷺ says, and still people are talking and laughing. This time. This time. You know, this were imagine the class, right? They're doing something for us. That's different. Quiet. That's different. But sometimes they look at you and they're talking about something really serious and they want you to know it. And I see people talking and laughing. You know? Everybody does this sometimes. So the Prophet said, your tongue. And Imam al-Tirmidhi added another piece to this narration. Sayyidina Abu Amr asked the Prophet ﷺ, فَمَا أَخْوَفُ مَا تَخَافُ عَلَيْهِ. What is the one thing that you're most scared of for me? What would destroy me, Ya Rasulullah? Nabi this time he did not point at his tongue, he actually held his tongue with his hand. And then he said this, your tongue. So this means what? When you say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, if you want to achieve that thing, you need to be careful of what you say. Ya salam, is this the meaning of, this is the meaning of the hadith. Subhanallah. قُلْ آمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. Say, I believe that Allah, and then have istiqamah, remain steadfast, but be careful. The one thing that's going to make you drift from a sirat al-mustaqim, from the straight path, the one thing that's going to make you drift is your tongue. I see a lot of brothers who can come to the masjid 5 times in jama'ah. But then you see them at night sitting together, having tea and cookies and talking about everyone. You go talk to them, you go sit just next to them, just sit next to them. Wallahi, you feel sick. I feel sick sometimes. We talked about this president, now we're going to talk about this player, and then we're going to talk about this interviewer, and then we're going to talk about this actor, and then we're going to talk about this sheikh. What about you? None of you went and picked a book from the library to read from it. Just go pick up a book. You sit down every day to drink tea and have cookies and talk about everyone else. Your tongue, ya akhi. And then you come to the prayer, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. And then you go lose all this hasanat by talking about other people and doing ghiba. طيب. Sayyidina Umar رضي الله عنه, he said, ثم استقاموا, to remain steadfast. He said, لا يروح روضان الثعالب. You know when the wolf sneaks and comes and bites you without you noticing? So that's what Sayyidina Umar describes people who have istiqamah. So they're like a wolf that's sneaking away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a prayer now. No, I have a rally thing, that's more important. There's a car rally. Car rally. At the prayer times? No, come to the prayer. We talked about Palestine many times. You know, set your priorities. Your prayers first, right? Don't sneak. Don't sneak like wolves. You need to be at the masjid at the prayer time. Oh, prayer time. That's what you need to be doing. Not doing for rallies. And then you go to volunteer. We're distributing food today. Is it at the prayer time? No. Alhamdulillah. Is at the prayer time? Don't go. Go pray first. Have you prayed? Ask yourself this question before anything else. We talked about this yesterday as well. Sayyidina Abbas radiallahu anhu, he said, istiqamah is to remain steadfast on the 5 daily prayers. And I'm not going to ask you and put you in the spot. You need to ask yourself, how many of the 5 daily prayers today you have prayed in Jama'ah? Again, this, as I said, this class is about your heart. That's what I said today. It's not an academic class. We're not going to use a lot of terms. Maybe istiqamah is the only term we're going to know today. But it's about your heart. You ask yourself, how many prayers have I prayed in Jama'ah today? At a masjid or at home or anywhere else? Sayyidina Abbas said, Istaqama is, he prayed 5 times a day. Ask yourself this question. No, I organize events, I go to events, I post stuff online, I talk to my friends, I go here and there, but I did not pray 5 times a day, so you don't have Istaqama. If I come after that and tell you what you're doing is wrong and you're harming yourself, please don't be offended, because what you're doing is wrong. I remember, to be honest with you, when I was your age, I'm younger, I used to struggle very much with the 5 prayers in Jama'ah. Every day. Like Like every day I go to bed and just think about it. How many prayers I prayed in Jama'ah? Maximum 3 in Jama'ah. And sometimes I delay Isha, sometimes I don't keep Fajr. I know it's hard. And I always thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me this job, even though it's a very tough and difficult job. Very difficult job. And I tell my students, do not become a full-time imam. Don't. Be a volunteer imam, be a part-time imam, but do not be a full-time imam. This job will drain your life. But it will make you always connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you come at the end of the day, wow, I prayed 5 times in Jama'ah and leading the prayers, Allahu Akbar. That's the istiqamah that I need. Because you know what, if you pray 5 times in Jama'ah, everything that comes after is forgiven. As Rasulullah said, 5 prayers in Jama'ah, whatever you did in the middle, it's going to be forgiven. As long as you avoid the major sins. This is what Sayyidina Abbas said. Sayyidina Abbas, his understanding, the Turjuman al-Quran, the translator of the Quran, his understanding of this hadith, his understanding of istiqamah is to pray 5 times. And Hassan radiallahu anhu said, istiqamah is to not follow your hawa. What is hawa? Hawa means what? Huh? Desires. Hawa is your desires. Wallahi, the most difficult thing ever. Wallahi al-azim, istiqamah is the most difficult thing. To go to work every single day, to be consistent in your at school, to be consistent in all your classes, in all your tests, to go to work every day on time. It is very tough, wallahi. To make sure you maintain a positive, kind attitude towards your parents when they speak to you under any circumstances, no matter how you're feeling right now, no matter what they said, it's very tough, wallahi. Very, very tough. Because all of us have hawa. So we follow our desires. Now I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like going to school. And I keep making excuses. And everybody does that. Even people who claim to be religious, they make it up excuse and they lie about it. They make up and they lie about it. I mean, even some people, they say, I can't come to this class, and they give excuses, and sometimes this, I don't know everybody's case, but sometimes these excuses are false excuses. Why am I saying this? Because I myself have done this in the past, when I was your age. It's hard. Istiqamah, remaining steadfast, is the hardest thing ever. And this is why, look at this hadith. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said what? Wallahi subhanallah. Rasulullah said, شَيَّبَتْنِي هُودْ وَأَخَوَاتُهَا. He said, there is an ayah in Surah Hud that made my hair turn gray. You know, guys, what happened? I have some gray hairs here, white hairs. You know what? You know why you get white hairs? Huh? Stress is the first reason is stress. First reason is my father. He had an elder brother. I don't know how many years it's between them, but he was the younger one, and all his hair was white because my father was very stressed and he was on debt. But my uncle, he was a very wealthy man until today, and his hair just turned red recently after my father passed away, and he was his younger brother. You can never see them together and say that my father is the younger one because of the stress he had. So Rasulullah had what? Why am I telling you this? Because Rasulullah had so much stress when he read one ayah. He was pressured. What is that ayah? It's so difficult. This ayah is so difficult. And that says, فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ وَلَا تَطْغَوْا إِنَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Wallahi, if you understand the meaning of this ayah, you will get up and go home. I felt I want to get up and leave. I felt now I want to get up and leave the class. We just talked about istiqamah. Istiqamah is to be like a robot. And you don't need to be recharged. That's istiqamah, basically. And we're going to talk at the end now, is it possible or not? And how to achieve it. Allah is telling Rasulullah, فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. Have istiqamah as you were commanded. Exactly what I told you. Scary. Everything that you were commanded. Don't look at anything haram. You come asking me about interacting with the opposite gender at school. Don't do it, can you? If I tell you this, can you? Of course you can't. Why? Because it's on your phone. Everything's on our phone now. Unfortunately, bad women, in the past, they were more precious than today. We're not about our chaste women, we're talking about bad women. They were more precious than this. Now they're everywhere. What are you talking about? Don't interact with them? I watch the intimacy online. What are you talking about? Let's be real and be straightforward sometimes. So Allah said to His Prophet, فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. Remain steadfast as I commanded you. And then He said, the hardest part is, وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ. And those who follow you, those who repented with you, left kufr and came to Islam, those who repented with you to Islam. So you need to make sure all your followers have istiqamah as well. Oh, it's getting so hard. That's why his hair turned gray. That's so much oppression. I can take care of myself. What about the ummah? No, be careful. The entire ummah, Muhammad, that's why you're the best of humans. That's why you're the best of creations. And then he said after that, وَلَا تَطْغَوْا Ya Rabbi, and don't ever go beyond the limits. It's like impossible. Who doesn't make mistakes? Who doesn't commit sins? And then Allah said after that, إِنَّهُ indeed Allah بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. He's watching over you. If you just understand this ayah, keep thinking about it, you will not get out of your house. Wallahi, we will not get out of our house. We will stay at home just to make an istighfar. SubhanAllah. And that's why Rasulullah, when he was asked, why did your hair turn red when you recite Surah Hud? He said, because of this ayah. Subhanallah. Rabbi al-Azim. Okay. طيب. The next question. So this is what's istiqamah, right? Now, is it possible to achieve istiqamah? Is it possible or not? So let's vote. You think it's possible to achieve istiqamah? If you think it's possible, raise your hands. If you think it's possible to have istiqamah, raise your hands. Okay. If you think it's not possible, raise your hands. If you think it's not possible, raise your hands. Okay, apparently the majority of you think you can do it. So you think you can be a robot and you don't need to be charged and you're not gonna make mistakes or commit sins. You're gonna be perfect all day. I mean, that's either arrogance or ignorance. I'm sorry. You have this something. Look at this. That's not because I'm saying this. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم in Sahih al-Bukhari. He said this. استقيموا حاضر حاضر يا رسول الله. He said, hey, remain steadfast. Have istiqamah. حاضر. But what did he say after? وَلَن تُحْصُوا. You will never be able to do it. Oh wow, Rasulullah is saying this. Sahih Bukhari. Type in Google, استقيموا وَلَن تُحْصُوا. لن تحصوا means you will never be able to do everything. You can't. You will never be able to because you're not a robot. We are humans. We make mistakes. And the one who created us knows that. So don't worry, your hair doesn't need to turn gray right now. Don't be stressed. But it's important. استقيموا ولن تحصوا. You will never be able to do it right after, before you start thinking. And then he says, وَاعْلَمُوا, and know for sure, أنه لن يدخل أحدا منكم الجنة عمله. None of you will go to Jannah because of his righteous deeds. Because if it's because of you, how's that? I can be like a robot if I need to be like a robot. If I have this option, or just turn that on and be a robot. And go to Jannah and be number one. No, you can't be number one. Where are the Sahaba then? Who made mistakes? Do you know that there are some of the Sahaba came to Rasulullah because they had zina? Did zina? Yes or no? Okay, so the Sahaba did that. I'm not saying you can do zina. Astaghfirullah. I'm saying the Sahaba made mistakes. So we're lower than them. So definitely we're not going to be like them. And we're going to make mistakes. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّهُ. And then he said, وَلَا يُحَافِظُ. But look, I know you cannot have istiqamah and you cannot be perfect. But he said, but there's a key. There's a key that we mentioned at the beginning of the halaqah. What was that key? Your what? Your tongue. The second key here is this. وَلَا يُحَافِظْ عَلَى الْوُضُوء إِلَّا مُؤْمِنٌ. None of you will maintain his wudu except the believer. So if you can be always in a state of wudu, that's a key that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you in wudu right now? After the prayer? Alhamdulillah. Make sure to do that. Look at this. The next hadith. قال رسول الله, another evidence that you cannot have perfect istiqamah. He said, سددوا. What is سددوا? When you hit your target. سددوا. Sadad, you know Ronaldo? When he scores a goal, he does what? In Arabic, when he kicks a ball, do you have an Arab here? In Arabic, when you kick a ball, it's called tasdeed. You know that? Kicking a ball, in Arabic is tasdeed. So Ronaldo does it. He does tasdeed actually. Ronaldo has sadad, but in soccer. Now we're talking about sadad in religion. What does that mean? To hit your target. What does that mean? 100%. 10 out of 10 every day. 5 out of 5 every day in the prayer. 5 prayers every day, 5 out of 5 in Jama'ah. Saddidu. And Rasulullah knows sometimes you're going to be tired, you have school, all of you come and ask this question, can I combine Dhuhr and Asr because of school? He knows that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So immediately after he said, Saddidu, like Ronaldo, scored the goal, he said, وَقَارِبُ. Qaribu means what? As close as possible. Because I know you cannot hit the target. So it can be, you can hit it, but it's going to go out. It's okay. Try again. It's going to go out again. Try again. It's going to go out again. Because you're not Ronaldo. You're not Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what does Allah want from me? Allah does not want me to hit the target. Allah wants me to try and get as close as possible. Ya Jama'ah, Allah yakrim. Ya akhi billah, for Allah's sake, just take this to heart. Wallahi, this class is so important for your heart. You cannot score the goal. What you can do is as close as possible. سددوا وقاربوا صلى الله عليه وسلم. طيب. Another hadith. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اتق الله حيثما كنت. Be conscious of Allah wherever you are. That's the meaning of istiqamah, 100%. Perfect. But Rasulullah knows we're not going to be able to do it. What comes after this? اتق الله حيثما كنت. What comes after? It's what? وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. You're going to make mistakes. So like he knows it. Be conscious of Allah wherever you are, but I know you're going to make mistakes, so أَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. Every time you make a mistake, repent. Ya Rasulullah, you just said اتق الله حيثما كنت. You're not supposed to know you're going to make a mistake. صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم لك الحمد. So again, Rasulullah said in a hadith narrated by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, لا يستقيم إيمان عبد حتى يستقيم قلبه. Your iman is not going to have istiqamah until your heart has istiqamah first. And there is it, ولا يستقيم قلبه حتى يستقيم لسانه. We explain what istiqamah is, I don't need to explain it again. And there is it, your heart is not going to have istiqamah unless your tongue has istiqamah. I mean, you need to watch your tongues. We need to watch our tongues, right? Anything, anything you say, you have to be careful because it's repeated many times in this narration. Subhanallah. طيب. Now, quickly to conclude, inshallah ta'ala. Now we talk about what istiqamah is, how important it is, if it's possible or not. No, it's not. It's not possible because we're not perfect. We're not robots. Now, these are some factors, or that can help you to increase your istiqamah. So if somebody comes and tells you have istiqamah, then no, I don't. I don't. Because if you say yes, this is arrogance. It's a hidden arrogance. Because still I'm asking Allah for istiqamah every day in my prayers. Because that's the reality. You're saying, because I want it, this means I don't have it. Like, what are some of the steps I can take? Number one is Who is your favorite soccer player?
Messi.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi. Mo Salah.
Sharp question. Mo Salah. Doesn't Egyptian strike?
Mbappe.
Who is your favorite tabi'i? Silence. We don't even know what tabi'i is. Do you know what tabi'i is? The followers of the Sahaba of the Prophet. Did you just see what happened right now? This is the reality of our nation. And this is the key, this is the generation that wants to have khilafah. I'm sorry, not to get anybody here. But this is the generation that wants to have khilafah. Do you see what I'm saying? They want to implement khilafah in Canada. Talking about it here. Ya Ragil. Are you serious? You've lost your mind? You don't even know what tabi'i is. Do I have to face you with reality, guys? I'm not here to make you hate me. I'm not trying to make you hate me. I'm just trying to expose that reality to us. You don't even know what tabi'i is. Okay, now we know the tabi'i of the followers of the Sahaba. Tell me your favorite tabi'i.
Abu Hanifa.
Abu Hanifa is after them. After that. I mean, good try. Anas ibn Malik, Sahabi, ده كان he served the Prophet. For example, Wa Mubarak. Allah bless you, inshallah. Did you see our reality? And then we'll go talk about what big words, because youth love to hear about these big words. Let's talk about khilafah. What are you talking about? We're going to go pray, Jama'ah. Pray in the masjid. These people want beards and pray in the masjid. No, we're going to do khilafah. No, but you don't know what you're talking about. I have to deal with that. Why am I saying this? Because Allah mentioned that one of the main reasons or main factors for you to have steadfastness and have istiqamah and thabat is to learn the stories of prophets and messengers and sahaba and tabi'in. قال الله وَكُلًّا نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. So if you want to have thabat, firmness, steadfastness in your heart, alhamdulillah, learn the history of these people, prophets and messengers and sahaba and tabi'in, and stop faking things. Stop being fake and talking about topics that you don't understand. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said what? When you heard some people talking about religion without knowledge, young people from al-Khawarij, and again, we're not labeling anyone here as Khawarij. Before you twist or read into my words that which I have not said, I'm saying that's a piece of history. Sayyidina Umar said about Khawarij, these young kids, at his time, radiallahu anhu, they were talking about things like khilafah and killing people because of their prayers. And they killed Sayyidina Ali. What did Sayyidina Umar say? He said, those people صنف تذبذب قبل أن يتحصرم. You know the raisins? Raisins comes from what? From grapes, right? So Sayyidina Umar said, those Khawarij speak about big topics are like raisins who haven't been grapes. That's what he said. Like this kid talking about khilafah and he doesn't even pray in time. And when you tell him pray in time, no, he doesn't want to be a grape. He wants to be a raisin. Right now, he wants to be a raisin right now. How are you going to be biryani without killing the animal first? You need to have the rice and the meat to make biryani. No, I want to eat biryani. That's what some of our youth do today. Stop talking. You don't know anything. Wallahi al-azim, I'm not trying to make them feel bad. And wallahi, I'm telling them the truth. We've never done this in our other. We've never done this. What is that? What are these kids talking about? So Sayyidina Umar said, تَذَبَّب became zabib. They became raisins. قَبْلَ أَنْ يَتَحَصْرَمْ before becoming grapes first. That's how he saw them. And that's how I see them. And that's how everybody who who has a mind should see these kids. What are you talking about? And then he said, those kids, the Khawarij, he said, they are talking, يتكلمون في مسائل لو عرضت لو عرضت علي لجمعت لها أهل بدر. He's saying they are talking about certain topics. If I was asked about, I would combine all the Badris, all people who fought in the battle of Badr next to Rasulullah, to ask them that question. So these kids, basically, in our this language, are talking about topics that needs the fiqh councils around the world to address them, and they're talking about it in the masjid with each other. I'm hardly going to stop eating, Okay, so number one, read history, basically. What else? Al-Quran. Al-Quran, not only memorizing. Memorizing is like the first step. Understanding. I'm gonna cry. Understanding Quran. And then when you understand, you start implementing. I think I have high blood pressure now because of how much I was yelling right now. Wallahi, yani habibi, it's not about reading. It's not about being a hafiz. With all love and support, our Hafaz, as I always say, it's about understanding the Quran and then knowing how to implement it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about the Quran, the disbeliever said this, please, even if you want to talk, guys, habibi, ya Hassan, even if you want to talk, just listen to me for like 2 minutes. I have very important information to tell you about the Quran. About the Quran, very important information, okay? Okay, please listen, okay? It's important. The disbelievers, they said this. وَقَالُوا لَوْلَا نُزِّلَ عَلَيْهِ الْقُرْآنِ جُمْلَةً وَاحِدًا. Why wasn't the Quran revealed on Muhammad at once, like one unit, so he can memorize the whole thing at once and then tell us the Quran? Why did he has to receive the Quran over 23 years? Why? When did Rasulullah become a messenger? 40. And when did he speak about Khilafah? After that. Now the kids were born and raised in Canada, studied in secular universities and schools talking about Khilafah, and they are 20 years old. Khalas, I lost me. I can't be patient with these kids. So the disbeliever said, why didn't you receive the Quran at once and he gave it, recited the whole thing to us like at once? Allah said, the reason is, كَذَلِكَ لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. So the Quran was revealed over 23 years on you to make your heart thabit, steadfast and firm on Islam. What does that mean? In practical terms, if you want to have thabat or istiqamah or remain steadfast, you need to learn one verse at a time. As Sayyidina Anas said, I'm not making that up, it's not my strategy. Sayyidina Anas said that. He said, we used to learn 5 ayat, understand them, implement them, and then put the next 5 ayat. Don't you know this narration? Khalas that. That's Islam, yeah. Islam is like this. 1 ayat at a time. Understand it, ask the scholars, implement it, it becomes a part of your second nature of you, and then you move the next ayah. But I want to become a hafiz. I love the Hafaz. My best students, I love them. But that's not what Islam is about. Actually, I need to cheer you up a little bit because I'm so passionate right now, and you think I'm angry, but I'm not angry. I'm so passionate about this. So I hope you don't feel that I'm attacking you. Next point. What else? What's another factor? Just maybe 2-3 factors, and I'm gonna conclude inshallah. Ad-du'a. When this ayah was revealed, وَلَوْلَا أَن ثَبَّتْنَاكَ لَقَدْ كِدْتَ تَرْكَنُ إِلَيْهِمْ شَيْئًا قَلِيلًا. In Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17, verse 74, Allah said to His Prophet, had we not made you steadfast? Had we not made you steadfast? Allah is talking to who here? Ya Allah. Allah spoke to the Prophet himself. And he's telling him, had we not made you steadfast, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you would have inclined towards them a little. Ya Allah. The Prophet. Had we not made you steadfast, you would have inclined towards the disbelievers. What does that mean? It means it's very easy for any one of us, if he does not ask Allah to have istiqamah, it's very easy for you to incline toward disbelievers. It's very possible. Wallahi al-azim. Wallahi, it's very scary ayah. When this ayah was revealed, because of how scary it is, Rasulullah raised his hand and said, Allahumma la takilni ila nafsi tarfat ayn. Oh Allah, do not leave me to myself, even for the blinking of an eye. Don't leave me to myself. Don't leave me to myself. I cannot do it on my own. But no, that's not what we think today. I know it's all. I know it's all. I know how to be guided. It's a kind of Rasulullah, the Prophet himself does not know how to be guided, and Allah does not guide him. خلاص؟ So الدعاء. Allah says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. That's a dua to make when you want to have istiqamah. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. What is another one? الذكر. Oh, you might laugh at me now. Look, when I tell you guys, you need, if you want to be leaders, not Khalifa, leaders. If you want to be leaders, if you want to lead the world and remain steadfast, do dua, Quran as we mentioned, history, and do adhkar. How many times did I recommend? Everywhere. To download the app, any app, and just read adhkar al-sabah wal-masa, the morning and evening adhkar. How many times did I say that? When he says something like this, maybe you might think he doesn't care about problems of the ummah. He doesn't care about khilafah. He just cares about sitting at the masjid and doing adhkar and praying. That's what you think. But Allah told us in Surah Al-Anfal, Ya ayyuha, yesterday this verse is consulted Fajr yesterday. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, idha laqit, I mean these kids don't come to Fajr, and they will never come. They will never come to Fajr. You know why? Because they were told Fajr is not the most important thing. Talking about khilafah and big words is the important thing. And they're going to keep doing it. Wallahi, they will never come to Fajr. Their hearts are rotten. Rotten. In Surah Al-Fajr, this ayah was reciting it. Allah said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu idha laqitum fi'ah. O believers, when you meet your enemies in war, what do you think the advice should be? The advice should be, have your weapon and be ready to go. Yes, of course, because وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ اسْتَطَعْتُمْ isn't. But in this ayah, Allah said, number one, فَثْبُتُوا, remain steadfast. Don't run away. Number two, yes, subhanallah. So I'm going to leave the war and mention Allah? Yes. Yes, ya habibi. Allah said that. When we say come to Fajr is more important than talking about Khilafah, we're not making that up. Allah said that. When you say this, we want to talk about victory of the Ummah, do adhkar. Remember Allah yabni, have your subhan. Say adhkar al-sabah al-masa ya baba. Allah said, إِذَا لَقِيتُمْ فِئَةً, when you meet your enemies, فَثْبُتُوا, remain steadfast, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. You don't just say, Subhanallah, I mean, he's going to kill me. Why do you Subhanallah? كَثِيرًا, كَثِيرًا. Your tongue should be always moving. And Dhikrullah is not just to move your tongue. Allah is in your heart. As now we said, Dhikrullah is with your heart, or with your tongue, or with both, which is the best form of remembrance of Allah. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So you might be successful. You want to succeed, you want to be good victory, mention Allah. You want to have thabat and istiqamah, remember Allah. Do adhkar al-salat wal-masa. Okay, I'm going to conclude here. I don't think I need to even go further, but the conclusion is here. This class, again, one of the most important classes to our hearts. I need to have istiqamah, but I cannot achieve perfection because I'm not a perfect being, not a perfect being. I can't be perfect, but I need to do what I can. I cannot do tasdeed because Rasulullah said saddidu, but I cannot score gold every time, but I need to come as close as possible. وَقَارِبُ, as Rasulullah said. What do I need to do to have istiqamah? Connect yourself to the Quran with understanding and implementation. Pray on time. Do adhkar in the morning and in the evening. Don't forget it. Download the app once you're done with this class. And do dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And read history. Next time I'll ask you who's your favorite tabi'i, don't just tell me, huh? You need to tell me who's your favorite tabi'i. Because you know that Ronaldo is your favorite soccer player. Okay. Do we have questions? Or comments? Sisters, questions or comments? Okay, hold on.
So can we make dua for Khilafah?
Dua for Khilafah? Okay. Look, the topic is Khilafah is something we've talked about before. And again, because youth are so passionate and they don't have the knowledge, they think Khilafah is great to have to do dua for Khilafah and what. Question. Is Khilafah a requirement? That's one question to answer. Before we get to Khilafah. Is Khilafah an Islamic requirement? That's one question. Before we get to Khilafah, is an Islamic requirement. Okay? If it's an Islamic requirement, you know Islamic requirement means what? It means it's an obligation. If the Ummah doesn't have Khilafah, it means all of us are sinners. Is that a reality? Like, is it an obligation? And if you don't have it, it's haram. One question. The second, if it's an obligation, is it possible or not? Second question. I mean, you need to answer this question. And then when you ask this question, does it have a replacement or not? Is this replacement considered by the Sharia or not? Or this is our replacement? Does Sharia see this replacement as something valid? So these questions first. When we answer these questions, we can do the Khilafah, inshallah. And this is a book here, guys, you can read, download it. I mentioned this book before. السياسة الشرعية في إصلاح الراعي والرعية by Ibn Taymiyyah. Download this book, it's in English as well. Now.
You know, in Surah Fussilat, it says, إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا
Yes.
تنزل عليهم. Is that still possible that for us, if istiqamah is not possible, like perfectly?
Yeah, I mean, you have to aim for istiqamah. Because istiqamah here, it's a past tense. It's a past tense. In Arabic language, when there's something in the past tense, it does not mean continuation. It does not mean continuation. It means it happened before. But in Arabic language, if there is mudari', the present tense, this means continuation. So this means they have done istiqamah, but they fell and slept and then they got up again, slept and got up again. Yes, this means they had istiqamah. Because eventually you want to have it, you're going to keep hitting it and then falling, hit it and falling, hit it and falling, and this is which is normal. Right? So exactly, I was going to mention this ayah actually because this ayah, also I wanted to mention one of the factors of having istiqamah is your iman. But the whole class was about iman. So I didn't read this ayah or I did not comment on that requirement, like iman as a means to have istiqamah. Right? Because that's basically what the hadith says. Exactly, the ayah is echoing the hadith, or the opposite. The hadith is echoing the ayah. قُلْ آمَنْتَ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. Right? But again, I don't know, I've missed this many times in my classes. When you look at the Sharia, you look at it like this. I'm going to do it like this. See what's written here? There's a camera here. Look, I'm going to come closer. Look at this. I'm going to do it. The closer you come, the less words you see. Is that clear? Until we go like this. So, do you understand something? What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say this. I saw one ayah, and this ayah possibly means I can have istiqamah. But when I keep zooming out, and I match it with the other ayat and hadith that we mentioned right now, this is how to reach Sharia. Just match all the ayat and the hadith and you see the final theme. Islam is about themes. Not ayah, one ayah can move us. No, we don't move because of one ayah. We move because of the themes that the combination of ayat tell us. This is very important. One ayah and they go fight. I mean, I always say this example, people take one ayah, one ayah, and put it in your face. I always say it like that. They put it in your face and then move on. You say, yeah, just, oh, sit down. We need to talk. We need to zoom out and look at the other ayah. To understand Sharia. خلاص؟ بارك الله فيكم. Any other questions? السياسة الشرعية. شرعي politics. في إصلاح الرأي بإبن تيمية. خلاص؟ Okay guys, again, I have to say this every time. That wasn't anger, I'm just passionate about what I'm saying. Okay? Don't take it. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله